Hi friends, Rusty McCranie back with you here live on Central Florida Weather Live because we've got another round of severe storms to be tracking for you here as we just past the lunchtime hour. If you joined me for the earlier live stream, I mentioned how I was still concerned about the opportunity for more strong to severe storms to develop. Well, we've had that develop here right now. You can see we have a new severe thunderstorm warning, which does encompass the Metro Orlando area. This goes for the next 31 minutes. It goes until 12:45 p.m. The main threats are going to be winds of 60 miles an hour and some 3/4 inch sized hail. So let's take a look at what's going on right now. Movement of the storm is northeast at 44 miles an hour. We do have a radar indicated hail threat. The max hail size is 3/4 of an inch. That could cause some problems indeed. And again, wind gusts up to 60 miles an hour. Some of the areas are going to be impacted by this severe thunderstorm, including our friends in the Orlando metro area, Kissimmee, Ocoee, Winter Garden, and the St. Cloud area. So again, this is moving off towards the north and to the east at around 45 miles an hour. Already seeing some heavier rain move into portions of Osceola County towards 192 and the Turnpike, Kissimmee, then back down towards Campbell, right over I-4. You can see the live lightning count here. Central Florida Weather Live. It's pretty rowdy over the I-4 corridor in Polk County, back down towards Polk City. And then the rain is beginning to set in right now in the far southwest sides of Orange County, the far northwest sides of Osceola County. So places like Champions Gate, Four Corners, Celebration, and the rain picking up across the 429 in the western sides of Orange County as well, back towards 27 there in Lake County. So there's the 429 up towards Winter Garden. There's 27 up to the south side of Claremont. And again, this severe thunderstorm warning extends all the way into downtown Orlando, including places like the Winter Park area and Conway, including MCO. So more than likely, we're going to have some airport issues coming up here in the next 15 minutes or so. Lightning is going to be a big threat with this, just being outdoors. Please make sure you're very cautious about, being out and about. Again, lighting is not a criteria when it comes to severe thunderstorm warnings, but it is a danger at this point in time that I'll be monitoring. Now, again, taking a look at on behind the scenes here of any other active weather as far as, something to be watching for when it comes to the radar here. And at this point in time, I don't see any larger either rotation or any areas that have hail with it. That's good news. This is just going to be a rowdy wind maker storm as it moves up to the north and to the east. So let's time this out. I'm going to bring up my manual tracking again, just like I did in the earlier stream here. Move this off camera. But let's track kind of the general trend. Now, again, there's a little bit in the way of some rain ahead of this, but I'm just going to kind of track from what is mainly the main line, and we'll take it north and east, and it was 45-ish miles an hour. So let's go right about here. And so here's what we're talking about. These are some of the times of arrival for what could be some wind gusts of up to 60 miles an hour. So again, 12:16 right now, moving into Kissimmee about 12:33, Oak Ridge 12:39, Pine Hills 12:41, downtown Orlando at 12:45, Conway 12:47, Fairview Shores 12:47 as well, Winter Park 12:51, Goldenrod just before the top of the hour, then places like University Park and Oviedo just after 1 o'clock. Again, good afternoon, YouTube streets. Yeah, this is a pretty nasty storm. It's developing again. Fair amount of instability in the atmosphere. We had severe thunderstorm warnings earlier this morning and a wind gust of near 60 miles an hour in Daytona Beach. And that is going to be the main threat with these storms. Now, this one does have a bit of a hail potential as well. You notice the 3/4 inch there from the storm, from the National Weather Service in Melbourne. And again, with my system, we can take a look down to street level exactly where this is going to impact an area. So we have some light rain in Lake Buena Vista right now, but we have about another 8 or 9 minutes for the main push of rain and lightning and wind to hit Lake Buena Vista. And again, that of course is an area that is always very highly populated with all the attractions and being outdoors as well. So, and again, we have a camera there just a mile from the Magic Kingdom. I'm going to load that up as well here. So again, great to see you guys. Just to let you know, CFLW is sponsored by the Lean Law Firm of Central Florida. They are your hometown homeowners insurance attorneys. They cover homeowners and condo owners and associations across the entire state. Anything that could impact yourself or your property, they are there to walk you through the insurance claim process. They offer free policy reviews and consultations. All you got to go is go to the website that you see down below, leononmelaw.com, for all the information. We appreciate Bobby Lean and the team being the exclusive sponsor here of Central Florida Weather Live. So let's take a look at what is happening right now from the Disney area. That's the live look from a camera just 1 mile from the Magic Kingdom. You can see again, it's overcast. Bit of a breeze outside right now, nothing too significant. Some rain, but again, on the doorstep of what's going to be more active weather there, moving in very quickly. So I'll be monitoring that one for you here as we go through live. Oh, I think I did that to myself. Hang on. There we go. Sorry about that. Perfect. All right. We'll go back on camera and we'll go back here live. Again, if you're just tuning in, I'm jumping back on because we have more impactful weather here in Central Florida, and that is in the form of a severe thunderstorm warning, which includes the downtown Metro Orlando area all the way until 12:45, excuse me. So this is the actual text from the National Weather Service out of Melbourne. It includes Southwest Lake, Southwest Orange, the northeastern sides of Osceola County till 12:45. Severe thunderstorm near Auburndale in Polk County, moving northeast at 45. That's the other thing. These gangs are rapidly moving right now. 60-mile-an-hour winds and maybe even some penny-sized hail. So the intensity has gone up a notch. And again, you got to get to that 60 as a wind threat for the criteria for a severe thunderstorm warning. So we reached that. With the most stout part of the storm, impacts are expected for damaging to roofs, siding, and to trees. And again, Orlando, Kissimmee, Ocoee, Winter Garden, St. Cloud are areas that could be impacted. This is the track that I have for you guys. These are the times of arrival of the beginning of the most significant weather. There's rain ahead of this, but as far as the leading edge of the more impactful weather, these are some of the times of arrival. And again, I could track this for you guys all the way down to street level to exactly when this is going to be moving in. So, you know, for places like Four Corners and our celebration areas, we're just a couple of minutes away from starting to really see the weather pick up with some heavy rain, some really gusty winds. Maybe that could be approaching or going beyond 60 miles an hour, and just some excessive rainfall from time to time as well. Lake Buena Vista, the attractions area, now down to about 5.5 minutes before we start to see the more impactful weather move in. And again, you notice that the radar is also filling in over a good portion of our western zones. This is the only severe thunderstorm warning, but more activity is filling right back in as we go through the early afternoon hours here. So more rain, more winds, more lightning to go along with this. Again, in those concentrated areas, decent amount of lightning, and that's just something that, you know, we don't always typically see here in January as these fronts come in. Sometimes they don't have that instability. Sometimes they do. If you live in Kissimmee, or if you live in the southern sides of Metro Orlando, Buenaventura Lakes, towards Lake Nona, Medical City, Meadow Woods area, there's MCO. They just had a 30-mile-an-hour wind gust there at MCO. And again, this is all coming in with a storm system, which is going to bring the wind and the rain, and eventually it's going to start bringing some colder weather as well. You can already see up in Citrus County, Crystal River's down to 63. Again, we have hit the daytime high already. Most areas hit that daytime high in the mid-morning hours, and now temperatures will either hold steady or fall. And by late this afternoon and this evening, temperatures will really begin to plummet, especially overnight, where we're going to start off tomorrow morning, a lot of areas well into the 40s and probably some 30s as well. Looks like the trend has been to get colder and colder. Hey, Garrett, how you doing, man? About to go to work, just stopping in to say hi. Appreciate Garrett, friend of the channel, coming in to say what's going on. Not even a local here in Central Florida, but has joined us for some of the coverage on Central Florida Weather Live and Media Mundo. Appreciate Garrett tuning in. And again, just like Garrett, just like YouTube Streets, you want to chime in and say hi. First of all, I would just love to hear from you guys, just where you're viewing from, what the weather is like. That always helps to kind of round out and tell the story, but it also helps the channel. The more you guys take a second and hit the like button on this live stream or comment, it actually helps the channel, the algorithm, which is always the very important thing here on YouTube, and it just gets more eyes on the channel. More folks who don't even know we exist will start to see the channel, and maybe they'll begin to tune in as well. If you're watching and if you haven't subscribed, you want to do a quick favor and hit that subscribe button. Again, this is a live only channel. I'm only on when there is weather to talk about, whether that is in the form of our Central Florida Weather Live show, Monday and Fridays at 1 p.m. or anytime there's impactful weather here in Central Florida. The point is that you're never going to be inundated with notifications because you're only getting a notification when I'm live, and when I'm live, it's very important. So this was I drew my own manual track. This was the algorithm here. I just wanted to kind of see, again, the strongest part of that storm was back near the Auburndale area, but you can kind of see where the radar algorithm kind of has the nastiest part of that going. It's in this area in white. So Lake Buena Vista, Celebration, Campbell, Buenaventura Lakes, Lake Nona, Medical City, Meadowwoods, MCO, Belle Isle towards Conway, and then back towards the Lee Vista area as well. Again, if you're just tuning in, severe thunderstorm warning is in effect for the metro Orlando area and areas to the south. That goes until 12:45. Main threat is going to be some winds of up to 60 miles an hour, but maybe even some 3/4 inch sized hail. So because we actually have a hail threat, let us take a look at the potential for hail. So I'm going to pull up. Let's see here. Here we go, mean estimated hail size. So this is going to be on the algorithm here if we're picking up any hail. The good news is, at least at this point in time, I would suspect that if we were going to get some, it would be right here, but I'm not seeing any. Now, if for some reason you've experienced a little bit of hail, let me know. Yep, thank you, YouTube Streets, appreciate that. Again, you want all notifications on because you want to know when I'm going to go live, and I'm only live. So I don't see anything out of the mean hail size. Let's check our velocities and see about these winds. So again, the green on this map, all of the wind is coming towards the Melbourne radar site. So green is heading towards, red is going away. Let's query some of these numbers. That's pretty good wind. Now, again, we're not right at the surface here, but we're not too far up. We're probably somewhere around 1,000 feet up from here, but you're starting to see, again, these winds intensify in this area. So we've got, you know, some 50+ mile-an-hour winds coming in from the northern side of Polk, northwest side of Osceola, southern side of Lake, southwest Orange County. There's 4 counties that are all kind of confluent here in this very small area, but here's a 61 mile-an-hour wind right on I-4. So there is no doubt that this is a huge wind maker. And again, these are temperatures, so don't freak out. Those aren't winds. I'll switch over to the winds here again real quick. So here are your gusts. We'll be able to monitor that. So a lot of wind coming in with this, pretty good energy, and that's why the Weather Service issued that. And again, even out ahead of this, Melbourne has a 30 mile-an-hour wind, but these brighter greens, they're going to be excessive winds. So 33, Polk County, Polk City North, 33 will get you back into Lake County, which will then connect with State Road 50, which of course in Orange County, everyone would know more as Colonial. Slow as could be. About 1,000 street lights on Colonial. You're never making any time. But the winds are beginning to pick up here over Celebration, Lake Buena Vista as well. Up to about 24 mile-an-hour winds at this point in time. All right, let's go back over to our reflectivity. So I'll keep an eye out on that wind, but that's going to be a story. And you notice again that this line has really gotten a little bit more stout in just the past 15 minutes or so. So I do expect there to be some rough weather up towards Orlando, but I believe here, you see this leading edge? I think this is where we're going to have some of the strongest weather right now. It's still in the polygon of the severe thunderstorm warning, but it does look like northern Osceola County towards East Lake Toho and St. Cloud, maybe as far south as Harmony, really picking up right now over Buenaventura Lakes, Kissimmee 192 towards JYP, OBT, and the turnpike there, south sides of Orlando. 417, of course, in this part of the county almost runs east to west as it bends around MCO. 417, of course, then is your eastern beltway, runs up towards UCF. But down here in the southern part of the county basically runs, it has to go around the airport, so it's running kind of east to west. There's our friends in Lake Nona, which is a very highly populated area of the Orlando metro area. And again, all of this is under a severe thunderstorm warning for the next 17 minutes. But just to show you again, there's another kind of big blast of showers and storms in general working their way through. But that is the one severe thunderstorm warning that we do have in effect. And again, officially, it goes until 12:45. I don't know why I keep saying 10:45 because it was on earlier around 10. But 60-mile-an-hour winds and some penny-sized hail. All right. So watch out for, again, this could take down some trees, which of course in accordance could take down some power lines. You got to watch out for any loose objects in your yard, anything that could be, tossed out and about. Well, we have a moment, and this storm is beginning to pick up in the Disney area. Let's go live to that camera again. This is a live look to a camera just 1 mile from the Magic Kingdom, and you are looking south and west from this shot. So we will actually be able to see this storm move in. Now, maybe we get a little bit lucky and maybe the very worst part of that storm slips just south of Lake Buena Vista. But the bottom line is that anyone at the attractions right now wants a big heads up because lightning is coming in with this as well. And you want to be finding shelter as the most stout part of that storm moves through. It's going to be wet behind this, but hopefully, once that leading edge gets past the area, the winds calm down, the lightning threat goes down a bit as well. And it'll just be a wet day for the Magic Kingdom and Epcot, Universal, wherever you might want to go here in the attractions. But sloppy day indeed. But for right now, the biggest concern is going to be the opportunity for some lightning. And keep an eye on this shot. From time to time, we could actually see a little bit of lightning display down there as well. All right, back over to the live radar. Bring this back up full. Let's switch over to our composite view. And I can loop that up for a little bit longer time. So here's our composite view. This is how it's played out over the last couple of hours. Let me bring the timestamp back on for you guys right here on the top left-hand side of your screen. So again, we had earlier in the day a few severe thunderstorms up here, and I can bring that time frame out just a little bit longer so you guys can see that. Let me take this out 4 hours. So you'll see the storms initially that brought the severe thunderstorm warnings to places like Volusia and Lake and Marion counties, where we had the 56-mile-an-hour wind gust. Look right here, there's a 56 in Daytona Beach, right? Now, in just the last half hour or so, we've really seen that line pick back up again across the I-4 corridor with additional showers and isolated storms redeveloping in our northern areas. And again, there's just a lot of energy right now in the east central Gulf of Mexico to kick this out. The Storm Prediction Center does have us in a day one slight risk. You can see that here in the green, or the marginal risk, excuse me. That would be 1 out of 5. And I hate the wording that they use of the different scales: marginal, slight, moderate, elevated, high. It doesn't make a lot of sense. But the bottom line is that we're a 1 out of 5, right? So we're not expecting any high-end storms, but a few stronger to severe storms with wind being the main threat is possible. And that dark green encompasses our entire area here in Central Florida and will last for the remainder of the afternoon hours. Again, this is not going to be a clean frontal passage, meaning that the storms just aren't going to come through in one nice concentrated line, and then we're said and done after that. We're going to have multiple rounds of showers and storms. From time to time, they'll pick up in intensity. From time to time, they'll have some winds in excess of 50 plus miles an hour, but there'll be generalized showers and storms that will linger across the area deep into the afternoon. One of the things going on, besides what's happening at the attractions, of course, is the Scottish Highland Games in Winter Springs. They are starting to see again some weather moving back into that area. They are just outside of that new severe thunderstorm warning that's in effect for Metro Orlando. But again, Scottish Highland Games going on there in Winter Springs. Going to be wet, going to be somewhat stormy there. Still mainly light rain at this point in time. Not a lot of lightning near Winter Springs, but additional rain will continue to work its way in. So for any of those folks, please keep that in mind. All right, let's get back out to the live view here again. And we'll bring this back on. Perfect. Again, our severe thunderstorm warning is in effect for the next 12 minutes. Now, you know, these things, as we go through time, they can change orientation a little bit. And it really looks like to me right now, right here in the heart of, the polygon for the severe thunderstorm warning. That's where the worst weather is right now, no doubt about it. So let's kind of get into this a little bit more. So Celebration towards I-4 interchange there as you get towards the 417, Hunters Creek, Kissimmee, Buenaventura Lakes, there's Meadowwoods. So MCO is going to start getting rain and storms, potentially slowing up some of the travel there for some reason. If you know anyone coming in or out of Orlando, OIA could be an opportunity for some delays due to weather. Buenaventura Lakes, Medical City, Lake Nona, and again, that polygon does go as far south as Harmony. So let's track this. I think there's a couple of different things I want to do here. First of all, go back over to this manual track. Kind of here, it's like two different little parts I want to talk about. So you've got this kind of like leading edge, which is kind of bowed out ahead of itself. Here, let me see if this will cooperate. I'm not sure I can go all the way around. Yeah, okay, it's not going to let me go all the way around. That's fine. We'll do it like this. If I just kind of take this here and we go, I know it's a small area, but just kind of to show you that the leading edge of this is kind of racing north and east, right? And it'll be heading into the eastern sides of Orange County and eventually into Brevard County. So if this holds together, it could get to somewhere like Titusville right around 125. That's one part of the storm. But the other part is this. You've got kind of this area on the southern side, which it is moving east, but it's almost like trying to flank out north and east. Let me clear that again. Give you a little bit better drawing here. Nope. So it's kind of almost, it's going to try and move like this. I just kind of wanted to highlight this, that generally speaking, this is probably going to be the most stout part of this storm. So it's in Kissimmee right now, Buenaventura Lakes. It's headed to St. Cloud in the next couple of minutes. And then again, and I wanted to highlight this, if it holds together, it does get into Brevard County a little bit after 1 o'clock. So Cocoa 112, Rockledge 113, maybe the Cape about 120. We'll see if it holds together. Some of the storms that moved across the state earlier did. Others kind of fizzled out. But you can see that kind of on the northern edge of this right now, even though downtown Orlando is under a severe thunderstorm warning, I don't see the highest reflectivity in this area right now. So it does look like that the most stout part of this storm has drifted a little bit farther off towards the south. Still a 25-mile-an-hour wind there at the Executive Airport, 29 in both MCO and in Kissimmee. So decent winds, and even those winds kind of, again, go back into portions of Polk County as well. So if you're just tuning in, severe thunderstorm warning continues for the next 9 minutes. Some of the areas that are expected to be impacted include Orlando, Kissimmee, Ocoee, Winter Garden, and St. Cloud. Again, I would include deeper into portions of southeast Orange County and a little bit east of the Kissimmee area as well. Again, hail threat is radar indicated up to 3/4 of an inch. I can look at that ourselves here. We can take a look at the potential for max hail size. There's the velocity, and that's the wind as well. If you guys see these greens right here, this is going to be the most significant wind, these brighter greens. Again, we're not right at the surface, but just above the surface, we've got some winds of over 50 miles an hour moving into Celebration, and some of that could mix down. Again, your severe thunderstorm criteria is up to 60. This does include Lake Buena Vista, some 39-mile-an-hour winds there. Again, not at the surface, but just above. Four Corners area, so Champions Gate, places like that. Here's Campbell, Buenaventura Lakes, MCO. You can see that the winds here are actually lighter, but at the surface they're stronger, some of that mixing down. And this is all working its way to the north and to the east. This is the estimated hail size. Again, if the algorithm was going to pick up some hail, it would display it. But I don't see that at this point in time, which is good news. Looking over to the storms near Tampa, I don't see anything here. So even though the Weather Service is mentioning hail, at this point, what I can see from the Melbourne radar, we're not throwing on any hail. It doesn't mean that we couldn't have some pockets of maybe some pea-sized hail. And again, if for some reason you happen to capture any of that, let me know. Go back over to our reflectivity. Again, we have offshore special marine warnings, but this is the one lone severe thunderstorm warning right now. It goes for the next 6 minutes. How's everyone doing today, by the way, on a Sunday, right? We talked about this during Friday's show that the weather was going to be pretty impactful for today. Unfortunately, it panned out because I know a lot of folks have some outdoor plans. We've got, the Scottish Highland Games going on, other things happening across. There's always something going on in Central Florida, right? Regardless, but not going to be fun weather the remainder of the day. And if you didn't tune in for the earlier live stream, we've got some cold weather coming in behind this. We've got some cold weather coming in a heartbeat, right? So we'll deal with the rowdy storms through the rest of the afternoon hours, and then we'll deal with 40s and 50s throughout most of the day on Monday and Tuesday. So MLK Junior Day is not going to be pleasant weather with the cold. Tuesday's cold. Earlier we looked at the opportunity for some significant snow in places like Houston and near New Orleans and maybe near Mobile and Pensacola. And I'll have that much more on that coming up tomorrow afternoon for CFLW, the show, at 1 p.m. Again, maybe you haven't tuned in a while, right? Again, this is a live-only channel, so I'm only going to be on when there's impactful weather in Central Florida. But to continue to provide you guys more consistent coverage, I'm now coming on live every Monday and Friday at 1 p.m. for what we call CFLW, the show. I will be on the Monday show talking about the weather for the work week ahead, and then on Friday's show, I'll highlight Friday's weather and the weekend weather as well. You can join me, ask me questions. This is why I do this, so it can be interactive. You have a specific question. Again, this is the big difference between watching television and watching this on the digital platform, is the interaction that we can have. If you say, hey, Rusty, tell me about this particular spot, what's going on right now, we can absolutely do that, all right? And again, I would love for you guys to join me live, but you don't necessarily have to. You can watch the replay version of it, if you will. It just becomes a recorded video. You find that under the live tab here at CFLW, just like where you would see these live streams once we're done. You go under that live tab, you'll find the thumbnail, just look for the particular dates. And again, since we talk about the forecast for several days out, you can watch it later that afternoon, later that evening, even the next day. Still plenty of new information for you guys. Regardless of when you watch, or if you're watching this live stream, if you want to do me a quick favor and like this live stream, and again, subscribe to Central Florida Weather Live if you haven't as of yet. Again, we continue with this severe thunderstorm warning until 12:45, so about the next 4 minutes or so. Main threat is 60-mile-an-hour winds and maybe even some 3/4 inch sized hail. Haven't seen the hail threat as of yet, but again, embedded within this, there is the opportunity for some heavier rain and some hail to go along with it. And this is just beginning to fill back in. The radar is just beginning to light back up. Your live lightning count here at Central Florida Weather Live, those are the live lightning strikes in the last 15 minutes within this area. And again, a lot of just 25, 30-mile-an-hour winds, Bartow and Winter Haven. We have 29 right now at MCO, 25 in downtown Orlando. Even outside of the heavier rain, the Sanford Airport has a 32-mile-an-hour wind gust. 22 right now as we get towards New Smyrna Beach. It's about 22 for Daytona Beach, 26 in Ormond. And again, Daytona Beach had a 56-mile-an-hour wind there at the airport inland, right just east of I-95, but extremely, extremely strong winds. Mary says, I'm in Melbourne, have to go to Orlando today. What's the best time to leave? Mary, to be quite honest, the weather is going to be active for the next several hours. I don't know how timely your plans have to be. And if you notice, they have reissued a new severe thunderstorm warning. I would certainly let this pass by first, if you can, before you head out. But even deeper into the afternoon hours, there are more rain and storms that are going to be working their way back in. It's not a great forecast, to be quite honest. I don't know if it's extremely important for you to travel for today, but if you are going to be traveling, I would certainly let this severe thunderstorm work its way east of you, but you would then more than likely be traveling in at least some light to moderate rain and some gusty conditions. As I've mentioned, it's just not going to really cleanly clear the area here anytime soon. So we do have a new severe thunderstorm warning. So this is going to replace this one. And you notice that it kind of is favoring those southern sides that I've mentioned. So let's break this one down for you now. So new severe thunderstorm warning goes until 1:30. It's moving east at 55 miles an hour, right? Still have radar indicated hail threat less than 3/4 of an inch. And then the max wind threat of 60 miles an hour. Still going to be included in this: Orlando, Kissimmee, Oviedo, St. Cloud, and Cocoa. So now you're talking about portions of Cibolo County, a lot of the central and eastern sides of Orange County, some of the northern sides of Osceola, and then beginning to slip into Brevard counties as well. All right, that is kind of the overall perspective. Let's break down the actual text from the Weather Service in Melbourne. It is for southeast Cibolo, west central Brevard, southern Orange, and northern Osceola counties until 1:30. Severe thunderstorm near Campbell, which is kind of like the far northern sides of northwest Osceola County, or west Lake Toho, moving northeast at 55. Again, the main threats are winds of 60 miles an hour. So notice here that they've taken away the hail here. Still doesn't mean that there isn't the possibility for some smaller hail, but these are mainly windstorms right now. Again, damage to roofs, siding, and trees in the areas that I just mentioned: Orlando, Kissimmee, Oviedo, St. Cloud, and Cocoa. So this one is literally done. It goes away. It's been replaced by this new polygon in red, which is our new severe thunderstorm warning that goes until 1:30. You're welcome, Mary. Sherry says rain, lightning, and thunder at 50 in Avalon Park right now, which is over here. Here's Avalon Park, as where Sherry mentioned. You can see a couple of lightning strikes, right? She mentioned that as well, and that rain beginning to pick up. So again, technically Avalon Park is under this new severe thunderstorm warning. I am a little bit more concerned though about this leading edge right here. This leading edge right here. Okay, friends, I'm going to take a quick 1-minute break. I'll be back in just 1 second. Okay, friends, I'm back. Appreciate you guys sticking with me here. We'll continue our coverage on Central Florida Weather Live for a severe thunderstorm warning, which does encompass and just kind of snakes into the northern side, or excuse me, the southern sides of the Metro Orlando downtown area, but includes a lot of the eastern and the southern sides of Metro Orlando, portions of Osceola County, even slipping into portions of Cibolo County, just south of the Oviedo area here, and then potentially into portions of Brevard County. This new severe thunderstorm warning goes until 1:30. The main threat, by far the main threat, is going to be winds of up to 60 miles an hour. And again, we've got the wind gusts here for you live. So, you know, OIA, MCO Airport is getting hammered as we speak. We'll see if these numbers tick up once we get the new observations in. But this is a pretty rowdy storm. And again, it's not just rain, there's a lot of lightning. Now, I do have my severe weather algorithm running in the background, right? meaning that I'm keeping a very close eye on if there's any particular part of this cell that really bears watching. At this point in time, again, if you've been tuning in before, you would see icons appear on the screen if there was a particular spot that we really needed to focus in on. But as I'm looking behind the scenes right now, I'm not seeing any of that. So that's good news. So this is a broad storm, but localized. There's not going to be probably one huge concentration where we really have to keep an eye out for. Let's track this out for you guys. So I'm going to draw, again, another manual track, probably a couple of different segments we can do here. I'm going to go from this leading edge. Oops, sorry about that. Let me clear that again. Go from this leading edge back down towards St. Cloud, and then we're going to pick it up north and east. So we're going to kind of take the same track here, and again, it was going, what, 55? Right? Unbelievably. Okay. So let's bring this out. And so here, right, if this leading edge were to kind of hold together and kind of move in this east to northeast fashion on the southeast side of this polygon, just outside of that is places like Port St. John, Sharps, and Cocoa, and the Cape. You can see some of the times of arrival, right? Sharps 113, Cocoa 115, Rockledge 117, the Cape 126. And again, with my system, we can literally talk about street level exactly when this is going to impact. Notice again, kind of into rural sides of northeast Osceola County, you can see it moving in. But you get the idea here. I can come over here and say, all right, here's Cocoa, going to hit you about 115, about 26 minutes away, and watch it count down. So it's a great tool to use, especially when we need to do live street by street coverage of maybe a tornado or something like that. But just to kind of give you guys an idea of what the system can do here, we can literally count down to the second based on forward movement when an area might be impacted. Again, nice to see you guys. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Welcome to Central Florida Weather Live. Rusty with you here on a Sunday afternoon. What are we approaching? 1 o'clock. Again, we've got some impactful weather here on this Sunday in the form of a few severe thunderstorm warnings. We currently have one larger one in effect right now, but this is just going to be a pretty wet, active afternoon, even behind this main line. Additional showers continue to redevelop with a bit of lightning too, right? Enough instability in the atmosphere to kick off some of those rowdier storms, and there is still more to clear the eastern side of the Gulf of Mexico. The numbers that you see, those are wind gusts, of course, 30, 35 in some areas. The severe thunderstorm warning goes up to 60. If you live in places like Lake Nona or Wedgefield or St. Cloud or Buenaventura Lakes, even down towards Harmony, again, this leading edge is impacting you as we speak. Lake Nona is a highly populated area of southeast Orange County towards the Medical City area. Here's the 417 as it interacts with the beach line. That's the 528, which of course, if you go east, it takes you out into Brevard County. If you go west, it will drop you off at the airport or connects to I-4. And you can see all the lightning here as well. Towards Narcoossee, places like that. That's the most stout part of the storm as we speak. And all of this is racing off towards the north and to the east. And again, for this particular cell, the Weather Service has actually put a forward speed of 55 miles an hour, right? Still could see some hail. I haven't picked that up personally, right, on the radar, but you can really see how this line is becoming much more just lined up here, right? There's a really sharp gradient to where we don't have no rain, no reflectivity, and then some impressive higher reflectivity. That to me tells me that the wind energy is getting stronger along that leading edge. So this is what we call the velocity product. It allows me to query the winds from the radar. And you're going to see here on this product that in these areas that I just mentioned, you're going to get some winds that are approaching that 50 plus 60 miles an hour. Again, they're not at the surface, but they're very close, right? We're not shooting too far up here when we're looking at that. This radial measure tool will actually show you exactly, all right? So this is really cool, by the way. So from the Melbourne radar here for St. Cloud, Kissimmee area, we're 41 nautical miles away, and we're shooting at about 3,000 feet of elevation. So when we're tracking these winds, we're tracking them at about 3,000 feet, okay? Same thing there, but it's another cool tool I can just bring on real quick and we can take a look at here. So again, we're about 40 miles from the Melbourne radar. We're shooting at about 3,000 feet. Pretty neat, huh? So at about 3,000 feet, we got 50-mile-an-hour winds. You translate it to the surface, it's a little over 30. But the point that I'm making with this is that we can mix down some of those winds in the first few thousand feet of the atmosphere as the storm kind of picks up a little bit, and we could get an outflow of winds which gets more significant than 30. That's what we're having right now. There's plenty of wind energy in the low levels of the atmosphere that if we mix in some of that drier air and can kind of push it to the surface, we're going to get some stronger wind gusts. And that's why the Weather Service issued the severe thunderstorm warning and specifically mentioned winds of up to 60 miles an hour. Live look to Lake Buena Vista and the Disney area. Again, this camera is just 1 mile to the north of the Magic Kingdom, I believe. We're looking southwest from this shot back towards the Magic Kingdom. Again, gray sky. The winds have calmed down a little bit. It's very fortunate, at least right now, right, that Lake Buena Vista is just north of that main, more stout line of showers and storms. Still going to be impactful weather for the attractions. Of course, always keeping an eye on that area, as many folks that are outdoors at any point in time during the day, but it's poncho weather. Hopefully not much more lightning behind this, but just an impactful weather day. Some locals don't mind this kind of weather because it thins out the crowds a little bit. But if you're headed to the attractions the remainder of the day, grab the ponchos, just get ready for what's going to be a pretty wet forecast. And again, stay tuned because, you know, impactful weather, mainly in the form of wind and lightning, could still accompany this for the remainder of the afternoon hours. All right, back over to reflectivity. Again, you can see Lake Buena Vista is right there. So it's just north of where we have by far the leading edge of the worst weather. Now, what this also means is that downtown Orlando area is going to be okay, right? So kind of the northern sides of Metro Orlando, Conway and downtown, and Baldwin Park and Winter Park and Maitland and Altamont Springs, even up towards Oviedo, rain, gusty winds, some lightning, but certainly not this impact here. And you notice here, and thank goodness this is into some very rural areas near Narcoossee, and I think Lake Mary Jane is out here as well. You see these fuchsias and these blues, this would be where we might have a little bit of hail. That is very intense reflectivity. This is one of two things. It's extremely heavy rainfall, or it's some hail, probably smaller size hail, mixed in with some heavier rain. So now we are starting to pick up a little bit more in the way of a threat for maybe some hail here, okay? So I'm gonna keep an eye on that. Right now, again, it's in rural areas, but this is marching very quickly, and if it holds together, it's going to try and get into Brevard County. Again, severe thunderstorm warning for this entire area in red, this polygon, excuse me, all the way till 1:30. 60-mile-an-hour winds and some quarter-sized hail. Palm Bay Jags fan in the house says, hi Rusty, when can we expect some bad weather here in Palm Bay? Great question. Palm Bay here for our friends in Brevard County, actually the most populous city in Brevard County, just south of Melbourne. So right now, okay, I'm going to be keeping an eye on this line. It does look like the majority of the worst weather moves north of Palm Bay, but there's a heck of a lot still to come. I would expect that in the coming hours, all of this does get a little bit more of a push south and east. And once it arrives in the next couple of hours in Brevard County, it's going to be around the rest of the daylight hours. This is not, again, going to be a clean front coming through. There are waves of energy still in the Gulf of Mexico. If I go over to this base reflectivity shot and I loop this up, you can clearly see that there's still more showers and storms coming in. So to answer your question, Palm Bay Jags fan, I do expect there to be some active weather coming back into Brevard County probably in the next couple of hours. May not be severe, but showers and storms, especially on the leading edge of what comes in with some gusty winds, and then just sporadic showers and isolated storms the remainder of the daylight hours that could linger into the evening, right? I do expect the rain to come to an end overnight in all areas, and we're going to start off MLK Day on the dry side, but much colder. And, you know, there's going to be a lot of weather to talk about for the week ahead, so I'm excited to see you guys live tomorrow for CFLW The Show at 1 p.m. for tomorrow, as I've mentioned several times. But look at the current temperatures. These are live temperatures here. So you get up towards Tallahassee right now, or there's Tallahassee, but there's Mariana, places like that. And they've dropped into the 40s. They've already dropped into the 40s at 1 o'clock. Again, we have all reached our daytime high for today. Okay, I mean, maybe Indian River County could come up another degree or two, but everyone else has reached your high, and temperatures will either hold steady or fall the remainder of the day, right? So you can see those numbers. I'm just looping this up over the last couple of hours. Those numbers start to come down. Here's Leesburg as an example. They were at what, 75 this morning, and they're already back down to 64 degrees. Ocala is back down to 64 degrees as well. So you get this time of the year, right, with these cold fronts coming in, you can get these stronger, rowdier storms on the leading edge of the cold fronts. And then behind it, obviously, just depending on how things play out, you can get some much colder weather. And as I've mentioned, not only is there going to be colder weather for portions of the Gulf Coast states, but there will be winter weather as well. We could have maybe 5 inches of snow near Houston, Texas. Now, let me be clear. There is no frozen precipitation that's going to fall in Central Florida, and more than likely no frozen precipitation east of 75 along I-10. But for the western panhandle of our state, especially towards Pensacola and then north of I-10, kind of the northwest panhandle, a few inches of snow are likely as we get into late Monday and on Tuesday. All right, and that swath of snow will go into south central Georgia, where they again could see several inches of snow. This is not just flurries. This could also be accompanied by sleet and freezing rain and really cause some problems. There are winter storm watches in effect for all of those areas. Now, down the road, we could get some freezing conditions to sneak maybe into Alachua County. For Monday and Tuesday, though, we're not going to get frost or freeze issues despite the cold weather, because we're still going to have a lot of wind and we're still going to have some moisture in play as well. As a matter of fact, another round of light rain is expected late tomorrow night and into Tuesday, and that's going to be exceptionally cold rain. Back out live. That's kind of just wanted to give you guys an overview, but let's go live. Again, if you're just tuning in, severe thunderstorm warning is in effect for portions of, we'll just bring it up for you here live on the screen. It's in effect for southeast Cibolo, west central Brevard, southern Orange, northern Osceola counties until 1:30. We've got a storm racing at 55 miles an hour with some wind gusts of up to 60 and maybe even some smaller sized hail. And that's what we're seeing right here on this leading edge. Now, weather is getting a little bit better for places like Lake Nona and Medical City. Okay, but you can see the stout line of storms now into the northern sides of Osceola County. So St. Cloud, Kissimmee, even back down towards Davenport and Haines City as well. Let's get our current wind gusts here, see if we've had anything else pop up. Let me take off our base radar. There we go. It's interesting again that we even have, well outside of the severe thunderstorm warning, we've got Daytona Beach, New Smyrna Beach, still kicking a 33 mile an hour wind right now out of the west. So it's still a west wind. We've got a 33 at the Sanford Airport out of the west. These winds up here, by the way, towards Gainesville, these just be, I haven't looked yet. I'm assuming they're a little bit more northwest. Let's see. Nope, still due west here too. What I can do is I can put on the surface winds for you guys. So these arrows are going to come on the screen here in just a second. And there they are. So you can still see that it's mainly a south wind here. Let's see where we start picking up a north wind. Over here, still kind of a west, northwest. Tallahassee obviously is going to have a northwest wind if they're back down into the 50s right now. Mariana for sure. And boy, those winds are really picking up. So behind this initial push of wind, of rain, Crystal River still has a westerly breeze, but we're going to start to see a bit of a northerly component to this wind coming up in short order. Not here yet, which is why temperatures really haven't plummeted, but with the rain setting in, they're not getting any warmer as well. Again, it's good that we're not painting on any particular cell here for any huge issues. I'm happy about that. Still have what I call my storm cell tracking mode on right now. Still keeping an eye on that, but everything appears to be good. Let's look at, let's see now if the radar is picking up any hail here. It doesn't look like it. Even here. So we would have, I'm looking at what's called mean relative hail size here, but I don't see anything there. Let's see what the computer says about this track. So again, the computer picking up where the initial severe thunderstorm was here, but you get the idea of where it's going. And you can clearly see that it's done very well with where the main impact zone is. So for places like Port St. John and Sharps and Cocoa, we're about 25 minutes away from you guys to be moving in. And you can see some of the times of arrival there on your screen. Still would expect there to have the opportunity for a little bit of smaller hail to be embedded within these areas of fuchsia and blue that are blinking. That's enormously high reflectivity that'll be coming in. Back into Tampa area, I mean, you can clearly see that this line is more broken south, but there's still some rain. It's just light showers right now in Tampa. Still some decent wind. St. Pete Airport just had a 29-mile-an-hour wind gust out of the northwest, so there's a bit of a northwest wind there. And again, some storms up in Daytona Beach. Let's see, no lightning out of that. That's good news. Heavy rain. We've had special marine warnings as well. So again, I appreciate you guys tuning in. Nice to see you here on a Sunday afternoon at 1 o'clock. But again, this is what we do here at CFLW, covering this impactful weather across Central Florida for you live. You want to do me a quick favor, and I appreciate those who are tuning in. Thank you for taking a fast minute and just liking this live stream. That's the thumbs up button. That actually helps the channel more than you would ever imagine. If you'd like to drop a comment in as well, not only would I love to hear from you guys, especially if you have a specific question about the forecast, as Mary was asking about traveling to Orlando from Melbourne. If you have a specific question, feel free to drop it in the comments section below. But even just saying hi also supports the channel as well. And again, I encourage you guys to have your notifications on. Again, live only channel, you're not going to get inundated with notifications, but it also lets you know when I'm going live. And of course, now to produce more regular content for you, I'm live every Monday and Friday for CFLW, the show is what we're calling it, beginning at 1 o'clock, where I talk about the forecast here in Central Florida. Monday's show will cover the work week ahead. Friday's show will cover Friday and the weekend forecast. We'll talk about what's happening right now. We'll talk about what's happening down the road. I've got some city by city forecasts for you guys. We'll look at everything. And again, join me, ask a question. That's the big thing about being here on the digital platform, is you guys can ask me anything you want at any point in time. I love that interaction. That's why I'm doing this. So please don't be shy. Jump in and say hi. Annie jumps in and says, hey, guess what? We're starting to get some of that heavier rain in New Smyrna as well. Annie, how was it earlier in the day? The worst weather was north of you, but did you get some gusty winds in the mid-morning hours, or is it the worst as it is right now? So Annie here in New Smyrna Beach. In New Smyrna, by the way, New Smyrna and New Smyrna Beach, 33-mile-an-hour winds. So you can see the winds are picking up there right now as we're talking about. And there is a nice burst of rain coming across I-95 and moving into the New Smyrna area. So there you go. Appreciate that, Annie. And again, that helps tell the story. I love it. Severe thunderstorm warning continues here. This is going to be an interesting area because right now it's in a very rural part of southeast Orange and very far northwest Osceola. But if this holds together, this is going to start creeping to I-95, okay? If I bring up my spatial tool, you know, as the crow flies, we're only about 16 miles away from Cocoa right now. Same thing for Sharps, same thing for Port St. John. With the storm moving at 55 miles an hour, we're not that far away. Thank you, Annie. So yeah, 16, 17 miles. That's it. So if this holds together, this is going to be creeping into these areas here in the next, probably the next 10 minutes. So we'll have to keep an eye out on that. And again, we'll see if the Weather Service extends this warning. If it's holding together the way it is right now, I think they would. Again, let's be clear about this. In this particular view, in just the last 15 minutes, we've had nearly 200 lightning strikes. This is a very intense storm. It's got a lot of energy with it. It's got a crap ton of lightning. And in this pocket here, more than likely some hail, okay? Could just be some heavy rain, and there they go. I mean, I don't want to, pat myself on the back too much, But I literally just said that if this is holding together, they're going to have to extend this warning, and that's exactly what they just did. You know, you love being ahead of the curve, right? You love being ahead of the curve. But here's a problem. They've now upped it to nickel-sized hail to 88 hundredths of an inch. That's a problem. This is going to be a rowdy storm coming into Brevard County. So let's break down the newest information for this new severe thunderstorm warning coming up on your screen as we speak. Here we go. Now till 1:45. Still blowing through northeast at 48 miles an hour. Hail threat again is radar indicated with a max hail size of nearly an inch, about nickel size. 60-mile-an-hour winds. Titusville, Rockledge, Cocoa Beach, and the Cape are the main areas that will be impacted, but other areas that will be impacted will include Mims, Port St. John, Sharps, Cocoa, Rockledge areas. Keep an eye out. We'll get into some of the smaller areas as well, but just up and down, obviously US 1 and the I-95 corridor here, and of course Merritt Island as well. Vieira North is just outside of the warning, but Rockledge is in it. So again, you have two severe thunderstorm warnings right now. This one, which goes for the next 20 minutes, and the new one that goes for 36. But the problem is that the intensity of this has actually ramped up a little bit. Now we're at nickel-sized hail. Now we're talking about hail that can be potentially damaging. It's still not excessively large-sized hail, but let me be clear. If anyone is viewing in this area of Brevard County and you have an opportunity to get your car in the garage, it's just a nice precautionary thing to do. You know, if you have an opportunity to just safely secure it under some kind of structure, it's not a bad idea. Look, this isn't, we're not talking about 1.5 inch size hail here, but we are getting close to hail that could put some dents in cars. It's close when you get to nickel-sized hail. It's about the lowest threshold. What I call these coin-sized hail, right? You're talking about your pennies, your dimes, your nickels, maybe up to quarters, but I'm not expecting, at least right now, quarter-sized hail. But you get to nickel, again, it's close. And there is this nice little core right here. Now this is about ready to move across 520 and it's headed. So I want to really focus in on this spot. Let's track this out. I'm going to go 45. I think that's probably a good speed here. And I'm going to take just right from here. I'm going to take this out 45 miles an hour in this kind of path, about that right there. Okay. So at this point in time, the areas that more than likely could see the hail would be Port St. John and Sharps, okay? Eventually Merritt Island as well, obviously. And again, with my system, we can literally count this down to the second, all right? So with a forward speed of 45 miles an hour, there's your time of arrival in Port St. John, and there is the time until impact. So that's why I said we've got about 15 minutes if for some reason you want to try and get some cars inside just in case of the hail. Blue Goose, watching from St. Augustine. Had rain blow through this morning. We enjoy your work. Hey, I appreciate that. And also my house in Cocoa, got to get some weather. Yes, absolutely. So I appreciate Blue Goose jumping in the chat. Thank you very much for doing so. Yeah, it's pretty, look, this is a pretty significant storm. Let's be clear about this. I know it's not the summer storms, but this is an intense bit of instability in the atmosphere right now. And this core right here is pinging exceptionally high reflectivity. This is the area that's going to have some hail with it. And especially the Weather Service also, ramping up the hail size to this nickel size is important to note as well. And again, this will be racing at 45 miles an hour across I-95. So Cocoa, Sharps, Port St. John, eventually Merritt Island, okay? And the northern sides of the Cape. Now, hopefully I don't think do we have any SpaceX or Blue Origin rockets on the pad right now? First of all, nickel-sized hail, they'll be just fine. But you get the idea. Marlon asks, will folks in Hollywood be getting some of this? Hollywood back down in Miami. So Marlon, this initial activity, no, okay? Because it's going to be weakening as it pushes off towards the south. Now, what's going to be happening again for South Florida is More rain is going to be developing tomorrow in South Florida in a very light fashion, and then lifting back north over Central Florida. So I don't expect there to be a lot of any rowdy storms here in the southern part of the state, but there will be some more rain coming back in tomorrow. And just like it did on Friday, it's going to be lifting back north. But guess what it's going to be encountering when it comes back into our area late tomorrow and Tuesday? Temperatures that are in the 40s and 50s. You want to talk about some cold rain that's going to be with us? It's not going to be pleasant. We're going to have low 40s and overcast skies and rain. Get ready for that. Appreciate the question, Marlon. Thank you for joining the chat as well. So here we go. Again, heads up to our friends in Port St. John and Sharps and the Cocoa areas as well. Let's clear that manual track. Still going to go back over here. Let's look at the wind real quick as well. I mean, again, let's be clear about this too, guys. As we get closer to the Melbourne radar site, these winds become more ground truth. We're now shooting much lower in the atmosphere. So I'm still pinging winds, over 40 miles an hour here in a couple of spots. And there will be some gusts that'll be higher than that. And there is a crap ton of lightning as well. It's unbelievable. Let's see here. Yeah, every so often that lightning count goes away, but I'll bring it back up here in just a second. A lot of lightning. Let's check out again that hail. See if we got anything here yet. I'm just looking at a couple different things here. Yeah. You can see in this product here, it's what's called differential phase, but this is also going to help to kind of distinguish between what might be hail and what might not be. So anywhere you see those brighter colors. That's a nasty storm. Again, if you're just tuning in, let me reset, and I appreciate everyone joining in right now. Central Florida Weather Live, Rusty with you here at 1:15. So a couple of things happening as we speak. We have a severe thunderstorm warning, and it does include portions of Metro Orlando. Now, the rowdiest part of this storm is beginning to move east, but there is still some nasty weather, especially in northern Osceola County, Celebration, on over towards Campbell and Kissimmee, Buenaventura Lakes, even into the southeast sides of Orange County, including Lake Nona, then back down towards East Lake Tahoe, St. John, and Harmony. Still technically under a severe thunderstorm warning. The southern or leading edge of this on the south is going to be your strongest winds and heaviest rain. We still have some gusty winds up towards downtown Orlando, but no severe weather there. I'm much more concerned at this point in time about this that has kind of moved east in a very rapid fashion with the new severe thunderstorm warning that is now in effect for a lot of Brevard County as well. Let's take a look at the actual warning from the Weather Service. So this is up on your screen as we speak. Severe thunderstorm warning for northern Brevard, southeast Orange, and northeast Osceola until 1:45. Severe thunderstorm 7 miles west of Lone Cabbage Fish Camp. Woo! Moving up to the northeast at 50 miles an hour. There's your 60-mile-an-hour winds and nickel-sized hail, and that's what I'm talking about. 0.88 inches is nickel-sized hail. Radar indicated damage to roofs, siding, and trees. And the areas that I've already mentioned, Titusville, Rockledge, Cocoa Beach, and Cape Canaveral. But for the actual potential hail threat, it's places like Sharps and St. John, Port St. John that I'm very concerned about right now. You can see right here that is either very heavy rainfall or more than likely some rain that is also mixed in with some hail. I'm gonna do something real quick. Let's go to our Disney camera. Take myself off camera for just 1 second as we do so. I'm gonna reset something here real fast. But again, that's what it looks like at the attractions area. Again, this camera, friends, is 1 mile from the Magic Kingdom. This is a very common sight right now. Overcast skies, the roads are wet. You can see the rain dripping there from the underneath of the gutters. This will just continue to be the case. If you're heading to the attractions later today, it's not a washout, but you got to be very, very cautious of what's happening. Again, if you look at the bottom of your screen, you will see live updated conditions through a lot of the cities here across Central Florida, your current temperature, your current weather conditions. We also welcome the Lean Law Firm as the exclusive sponsor here to Central Florida Weather Live. LeanOnMeLaw.com. You can see their logo at the bottom of your screen. We appreciate Lean Law Firm joining us here on CFLW. If you have any need ever to discuss with a lawyer something that might impact your property or your personal, go to LeanOnMeLaw.com. Okay, let's go back over here. Bring back up our live radar. Get back into it here. Blue Goose said, just check my camera's not there yet in Cocoa anyway. True. Agreed. Coming, absolutely. What do I do to myself here? There we go. I'm kind of working computer within a computer. And so every so often I'm working on the wrong computer. But let's get into this again. So for this first polygon, it's only northern Osceola County that I'm worried about there to be actually impactful weather with some rain and wind that would be significant. But this area here, Port St. John, Sharps, Cocoa, the weather is going downhill in a hurry. Again, we're still not picking up on the algorithm for hail size. I'm a little surprised, but hey, I'll take it if that's the case. By the way, you notice that the live lightning count is back. This is an extremely intense storm. In this view, in the last 15 minutes, we've had over 250 lightning strikes. Even in this close-up view, 236 lightning strikes. That's a hot storm moving across I-95 right now. It will brush the southern sides of Indian River City. Certainly Port St. John, Sharps, and Cocoa. And now it's really moving in quickly. Not going to be much longer here before we see that. Again, according to my algorithm, we're going to get the worst weather in Sharps in about 4.5 minutes. In Cocoa, about the same situation. Port St. John in 4.5. Down the road for Merritt Island, okay, up towards the 405 in about 13 minutes. If you live on Merritt Island, a little bit more than 10 minutes away. Again, if you have an opportunity to put a car in a garage, while not necessary, it would be something that I would do if I had a second. Now, look, you don't want to get out and about in the rain and lightning. You have to be out ahead of this storm. Never get out in that. It's not worth it, especially with the hail being not extremely large and not extremely widespread. If you know anyone who's at the Kennedy Space Center Visitor Complex, this storm will be beginning to move into the Cape Canaveral area in about 15 minutes, about 1:37. Now we're outside of the severe weather for Titusville and Mims, but heavy rain and some gusty winds will still accompany this. Speaking of that, bring back on our surface winds. See how these winds will be picking up. So the Cape up to 23 right now. Again, right here. So we're getting close. In this area right here would have that hail. George, what I use is probably not, we have a commercial license for it. And there's a lot of customization that I've done. So it's not really for personal use, to be quite honest, based on the costs. But, you know, there are some certain apps that would probably be able to serve you well. If you want to, you can always email me cflwlive@gmail.com. Is that our? It's been a while since I've actually looked. Do we have our email address down here? We might not. But this particular one system, you know, it's not very, it's very cost prohibitive. I mean, we put a lot of resources in to be able to bring this to you guys. But there might be a couple that could help you out. And if you want to email me, I'm more than welcome to help to walk you through it. Yeah, certainly is some wild weather. Look, you know, it just depends, right? I mean, we have exceptionally hot weather in the summer months, and sometimes we get these rowdier storms coming back in this time as well. So again, right now, it's over the Sharps area, Port St. John, and then close to Cocoa that we're going to have what could be some hail. Right here in these purples and these flashing blues. Extremely high reflectivity. If I go over to our base velocity, you can clearly see the leading edge. So the red is going away from you. The green is going towards. We're very close to the actual radar now. So now we're only shooting, you know, 18 miles away. We're at about 1,000 feet. Nice little notch over here as well, right over Cocoa. Clear that off. Still don't have any individual areas of great concern compared to anywhere else. And you can see these numbers. Maybe 40. It would be great if we can lose this. I'm not concerned about that. You know, here's the thing. We're now going into the river, right? Could there be a little bit of twist right here? It's possible. Remember the friction difference between water and land, right? Got the Banana River, Indian River here. It's a very interesting feature. Could there be a water spout right here? It's possible. Take a look at that. Yeah, Blue Goose says it's getting rain hard. And I got to tell you, man, this isn't interesting. This could be a brief water spout. Do you see how the reds and the greens are going in different directions? That's a decent signature and what we call a couplet for rotation. You have winds going away from the radar, winds coming towards the radar right next to each other. And this is right over the river, right? So I think there's a possibility here. Now right across the 528 we had maybe a little spin up. Right here. Crossing over the river into Merritt Island. It's not out of the question. I was taking a look at a couple things here. But these are relatively strong signatures. Now again, there is not a tornado warning or anything like that. This is extremely localized, but it's not out of the question. You get that friction difference, right? Storms coming off of land, hitting water, much smoother, can cause there to be some inherent rotation with these storms. And it is right along the causeway there. And Blue Goose says, yep, just northeast of my house. Yep. It's an interesting feature. I'll put it to you that way. Again, there's no tornado warning, anything like that. More than likely, as it comes back on shore in Merritt Island, whatever rotation would last would probably dissipate, but I want to keep a very close eye on that. I'm also kind of looking up and down the line too if there's any additional little areas of rotation. This is all cooperating for the most part here. But you can kind of see here again, notice how right where we have the radar is void, and that's what you would want to see, if you will, for where there might be rotation. Because obviously you're not going to have a lot of rain more than likely right near where we have that center of circulation. So it does line up on the radar, absolutely. And now it's pushing in. And again, you're getting these really interesting features coming right over, right as this goes over the water. You're getting these areas of broad or even slightly tighter rotation. Again, to be clear, no tornado warnings. These are just things that I'm looking at in real time with you guys. Blue Goose, if you get any hail at your house, please let me know. Again, the severe thunderstorm threat right now is for hail up to nickel size. And I believe that if we're getting some hail right now, it's right over sharps. The DBZs, which is the reflectivity, is over 60 DBZs, which is exceptionally high. Like, that is, again, either extremely heavy rainfall or rain mixed in with some hail. Again, hail is just kind of larger hydrometeors, so the radar picks it up as intense rain. But there's also algorithms which can kind of help to distinguish between the two. And if this is working, I'm not picking up no probability of severe hail. Still not picking up any estimated hail size in this. So we'll have to see. But I don't want to discount it just because my algorithm isn't saying, hey, there's hail right there. You saw the reflectivity and how exceptionally high it is. So we're about ready to lose the severe thunderstorm warning that encompassed the metro Orlando area and the northern sides of Osceola County. You can see that counting down right now. And we'll continue with this severe thunderstorm warning for the next 15 minutes. Now, again, this does go as far north as Titusville and Mims, but I can tell you right now, the most active weather by a vast margin is going to be on the leading edge on the southern flank of this, which is going to move over the Cape. It's moving over Merritt Island right now. Some exceptionally heavy rain and possibly some hail over Cocoa Beach, over Sharps towards Cocoa and the Rockledge areas. We'll try and drift south, maybe Vieira North, the southern sides of Merritt Island, maybe Cocoa Beach as well. Right now, those areas are not under the severe thunderstorm warning. And again, you've got 60-mile-an-hour winds and potentially some nickel-sized hail within this area. All right? Just to reiterate, even on the back end of this, yes, it's not severe, but there's still some scattered showers, a little bit of lightning, and still some gusty winds. And some of that continues to move on shore as well. We're in store for a wet afternoon, but it's this leading edge that has the most concern right now. The lightning count is outrageously high. 245 lightning strikes in this view in just the last 15 minutes. Just an absolute ton of lightning being produced out of this storm moving into coastal Brevard County. They just did, and I was about to say, I would expect them to issue a special marine warning, and that has come into effect. Here's your special marine warning. That will go for another hour and 43 minutes. It encompasses the nearshore waters out to 20 nautical miles. Looks like southern Flagler, all of Volusia, and central and northern sides of Brevard County. But let's be honest, this is not a great boating day anywhere, both on the west and the east coast, with these storms coming in. You don't want to be out with this lightning right now. That's especially in exposed waters. There's no doubt about it. You're welcome, Annie. Thank you for tuning in again. I appreciate you. Thank you for liking, if you haven't as of yet as well. And again, I appreciate you guys who are here tuning in for CFLW's live coverage of severe storms on this Sunday afternoon. Thank you for liking the live stream. Thank you for subscribing to CFLW if you haven't. Again, coming on to talk about impactful weather across Central Florida live for you. You can see all the information at the bottom of your screen. That is updated current conditions across a lot of cities in Central Florida. And of course, now we are doing CFLW, the show, every Monday and Friday at 1 p.m. to provide you with more constant weather coverage here in Central Florida. But anytime there's impactful weather like this, I'm gonna do my best to jump on and cover it for us here. So now you have this most intense part of the storm moving right over Merritt Island and just north of A1A. Blue Goose says no hail yet, would be easy to see against the green line. Yep. Hopefully if we are getting some hail here, it's moving just north of your house and now north and east. But this is over Merritt Island right now. Highway 3, A1A, headed right towards Cape Canaveral. Again, the flashing fuchsia, the flashing blue is extremely intense reflectivity. This is our base velocity, which is our wind. And again, just looking here, now I don't see any spin still inherent. I think it was absolutely possible that we had a very brief water spout develop over the river as it moved east of Sharps, then right as it moved on shore, dissipated. That happens a lot, to be quite honest. Hopefully it didn't impact anyone. Hopefully it didn't actually hold together as it moved back on shore, but just looking at how tight that couplet was, it wouldn't be shocking if that was the case for a very brief time. Now again, we're coming back over Indian River, so we're going to have to watch out for additional areas, the Banana and the Indian Rivers, both on both sides of the coast here, right? Merritt Island, both sides, Indian and Banana Rivers. We're still going to have to watch out for some spin. And you can see here coming back off of Merritt Island, you know, you have a little bit in the way of interesting areas. Nothing looks nearly as tight as what it was. The reds are the winds going away, the greens are going towards, so anytime that we're, you know, seeing those tightly coming in. But Merritt Island, Cocoa Beach is about ready to get hammered towards Vieira North. Very, very intense wind and probably some hail. Could be headed towards the Cape. Maybe headed towards the Kennedy Space Center Visitor Complex. Hope folks have taken shelter there. A lot of lightning. This severe thunderstorm warning goes for the next 10 minutes until 1:45. Now, the Weather Service did replace the severe thunderstorm warning with a special weather statement to the south and west of our severe thunderstorm warning. This special weather statement is for winds of up to 50 miles an hour. It does include Orlando again. And when I say Orlando on this, we're talking about the southeast sides of Metro Orlando down towards MCO and Lake Nona, including Kissimmee, St. Cloud, Hualapaw, and West Lake Toho. That goes, it looks like, till the top of the hour. And again, northeast movement at 50 miles an hour. No hail, but winds of up to 50 miles an hour. So again, down trees, which could take down some power lines as well. You got it, Blue Goose. Again, that's a really intense storm over Merritt Island. If you know anyone who lives in that area, let them know. And again, no reason to track this. It's right over the spot, guys. So imminently over Cape Canaveral. Now, hopefully this pushes offshore. And the most stout part of that storm is offshore. That being said, still on this south side, South Merritt Island, Cocoa Beach, there's going to be a push of this to try and get a little bit farther off towards the south. So if I loop this up, and this is just a loop, by the way, over the last 30 minutes, you can see how the 50 to 55 mile an hour forward speed will race this across Brevard County in a hurry. And that notch right there, again, encompassing very heavy rain and more than likely some hail, moving right over again Merritt Island towards Cape Canaveral. The severe thunderstorm warning is as far south as Merritt Island, and we'll see what the Weather Service wants to do from here, whether they think that anything behind this or on the south side would warrant either a severe thunderstorm warning or a special weather statement. But again, even in areas to the north and to the west of this, we're not even close to being done. Go back over here to the live radar, but I'm going to put on our composite and take off the Melbourne radar for just 1 second and loop this up, just so you guys get an idea here that, again, still some sporadic activity and pulses of energy that I'll be moving through the area for the remainder of the afternoon hours. We are still under a marginal risk for severe storms. That is the area that you see in the darker green. That's a 1 out of 5 on the scale. from the Storm Prediction Center, okay? So again, very isolated severe storms, right? Probably not very numerous, but the 60-mile-an-hour winds and maybe some nickel-sized hail, those are going to be the biggest threats. On either side of this, you have the general thunderstorm possibility, which does go all the way down to the southern part of the state. So Marlon asked there in the Hollywood area. Again, not expecting anything too rowdy, but this pushes off towards the south overnight, and then more rain actually lifts back to the north late tomorrow. But the biggest difference will be the fact that our temperatures will be about 30 degrees colder. It's going to be a heck of a lot colder starting tomorrow. But there's just an idea overall of how I expect the rest of the afternoon hours to play out. If I pause this real quick, I'll see if my computer is going to cooperate here and put on all these advisories as well. But as it's trying to do so, guys, look at the amount of lightning associated with this storm. The amount of lightning is absolutely crazy right now. Again, right over the Merritt Island area towards Cape Canaveral. Absolutely exceptional at this point in time. Temperatures, again, plummeting behind our storm system, already back into the 40s in the Panhandle. And our temperatures, again, have reached your daytime high. Palm Bay did it get up to 81. Ooh, look at this. Sebastian got up to 86 today. So you can see that the south wind ahead of this coming in has been able to allow temperatures to pump up here into the 80s. But behind it, the rain-cooled air, already 68 in Orlando, 64 in Leesburg. And by the way, Leesburg started off at 75, and they've already dropped down by more than 10 degrees. Hey, George, this is an interesting channel. When hurricane season arrives and I'm home in Tampa, I'll be tuning into your channel. I appreciate it, George. We do cover hurricanes live here on Central Florida Weather Live. Any hurricane that would impact us here in Central Florida, and look, that's going to include larger areas of the state. If you guys know, you joined me for Hurricane Helene and Hurricane Milton coverage here on CFLW. We'll definitely have you guys covered in that regard. And of course, we do live streams regardless of time of day, and we'll cover that from start to finish. We'll have live cameras, a lot more coming to CFLW, both on a daily basis and when hurricane season arrives back in 2025. So George, I appreciate you finding the channel. Thank you also for liking this live stream. Thank you for subscribing. Again, with this being a live only channel, you're not gonna get inundated in notifications, but when I'm live, there's something to be talking about, so you might wanna tune in. So appreciate you doing that, and thanks for the kind words, George, appreciate you. So again, hopefully we're starting to see the worst of this storm slip offshore right now. That's what I'm hoping for. Still, again, expecting some hail crossing the Cape. You can see this line does extend back again into Osceola County. And then that line is getting even a little bit stronger all the way back down towards Venice and Sarasota. This is probably an area where it's going to become a little bit more intense over the next hour or two. You've got temperatures here in the 80s, right? They probably even had a little bit of sunshine there. The air hasn't, been raked is what we call it. As these storms come through, they kind of rake the atmosphere of instability. Well, this area hasn't seen any yet. And you see the wind gusts have picked up over 40 miles an hour. A lot of wind energy ahead of this. So this is going to be the next area south and east of Central Florida that will start to set the more active weather. We are cooling off a bit with overcast skies in the majority of our area now. So hopefully, again, once we push this storm offshore, things will come down in intensity some, right? Still could be pockets of heavy rain and even some rumbles of thunder, but hopefully not the intensity that we're getting right now. And again, this severe thunderstorm warning goes for the next 3 minutes. In my opinion, before it expires, I would say that because the most intense storm, look at that hook right there, guys. This is what I'm talking about, right here. That is probably a waterspout developing as we speak. Yeah, you can see how cluttered that is. Boy, it happens all the time. These lines of storms come off, they get offshore, and they start to wrap up. You can really see that hook right there. Interesting feature. Now again, I'm not going to issue a tornado warning, it's already offshore, but take a look at that. That was the most intense part of that cell. And you get that little hook echo right there on that leading edge. And again, this is the live radar out of Melbourne. Really fascinating. Got a couple different velocity products, which again is the wind. I'm just going through a couple of things here, guys. Yeah, you can almost clearly see that the wind shear is devoid right there. So my opinion would be that we had a water spout develop right there. Now again, how long is it going to last? It's moving offshore, it's moving away from land, but it shows you why we have to really keep an eye on this, especially as it gets closer to the coastline. You're welcome, Mary. Thank you for the kind words. Again, you know, one of the benefits of doing it on this platform is I can go on at any time of day and I can stay on for as long as I want. There's no pressure to go off. As long as you guys are interested in tuning in and interacting, we're going to be on. We're very fortunate to have support here in Central Florida. The Lean Law Firm as a sponsor of the channel. I can't tell you guys how important that is as this channel continues to try and grow. So again, I want to thank my friends at the Lean Law Firm for helping to support the channel. And if you have any need for an attorney, you can go to leanonmelaw.com and you can check in and see exactly how they can help you out. It's been great getting to know Bobby Lean and the team there over the last month or so as we've hammered out this sponsorship agreement. Really fantastic folks there, and I'm excited to have them on board as the exclusive sponsor for the first half of 2025 here for Central Florida Weather Live. Also our other channel, by the way, Media Mundo. Of course, we cover the Caribbean and the Bahamas there, and they are also one of the sponsors of Media Mundo as well. Bobby was watching my coverage of Hurricane Milton and saw that, and that bug, which now has his logo, it said sponsorship available, got in contact, said, Rusty, I love what you're doing. I think it's the future. Let's talk about, you know, working something out, and we were able to. So happy to have the Lean Law Firm as a sponsor. So as expected, at 1:45, we have seen the severe thunderstorm warning expire. Right on the eastern tip of the Cape, we still have some really gnarly weather, and there is that hook. More than likely, there is a water spout right here as it's moving away from shore. But again, hopefully all mariners are back in a safe port. As expected, they have replaced the severe thunderstorm warning with a special weather statement. That's good news. That's one rung lower than a severe thunderstorm warning. Special weather statement says, hey, look, this storm is not going to elevate to severe thunderstorm criteria, which is either wind or hail size, but it still could be an impactful storm. Okay, so that's what that means. This goes until 2:15 for the next half hour. Storm motion is still strong or fast northeast at 45. Max winds are 50, so it's come down from 60 down to 50. There's no mention of hail anymore because I think this was the core that they put the hail out for. Now it's offshore. So this is showers and storms for central and the northern sides of Brevard County, including Titusville, Rockledge, Cocoa Beach, and Cape Canaveral. Again, that's kind of the overall view. I can bring up the actual text from the National Weather Service in Melbourne. And you can see it says a strong thunderstorm will impact northern Brevard, southeastern Orange, and northeastern Osceola County. A strong thunderstorm near Holopau, which again is back down here. So they're talking about this and then moving up north and east at around 45 miles an hour. Main threat will be winds of 50 miles an hour. Gusty winds could knock down some tree limbs and blow around unsecured objects. As I mentioned, those will be the threats. Tree limbs coming down, could take down some power lines. So power line issues could be an issue. And then obviously if you have light unsecured objects in your yard, those could be tossed about as well. Got a little bit stronger wind gust here at the Cape. Just reported a 41 mile an hour wind gust there. And again, I also have access for any boaters. I have access to all the buoy data as well. All the buoy observations. I even have access to ship observations. Let's say that there is a Maybe not a cruise ship because they're probably not transmitting, but except for internal use. But let's say there's a large barge or something like that that's traversing the Atlantic or the Gulf of Mexico, and they are transmitting weather data. I can actually see that as well. But most of these are going to be obviously our fixed buoys, but I have access to all that information as well. And so again, always kind of keeping an eye out on that. There is our old friend 41009. Out here, it's an offshore buoy. And again, this is great to keep an eye out for during hurricane coverage. We did this with Milton and Helene on the West Coast, right? Able to see the wave heights and the periods and the swells coming in, so far so good there, but obviously the weather's gonna get a lot more active. But you can see that we do have some marine observations here as well. There near the Cape, they've got a 25-mile-an-hour wind, but then the onshore had a west wind at 41 miles an hour. Still good little 33-mile-an-hour wind gust up here in Volusia County. Rain trying to come to an end there. Let's see here. Let's switch over to the Tampa radar real fast, just to see what the Tampa radar is picking up. Again, obviously, because the Tampa radar is closer to this line, it can follow it farther south and west towards Venice. But just to show you again that if you live in Pinellas or Hillsborough or the coastal areas of Pasco and Hernando counties, more light rain is setting in. Lightning count is much lower. I could still expect there to be an embedded rumble of thunder and a lightning strike in this, but this is probably going to be some more light to moderate rain. But places like north side of Tampa, Town and Country, on up towards Citrus Park and Palm Harbor, Holiday, Land O'Lakes, and then deeper into Hernando and Pasco counties. We're going to have some light rain. Spring Hill, Dade City will be included in that. Sumter County, Bushnell area towards the Coleman area. Maybe a few light showers towards Bellevue. And again, even offshore, there's still more to come. It's going to be a little bit more kind of broken, right? I think the most instability has pushed through the area for the most part, except down in Osceola and Brevard. And by the way, our friends in Indian River County need to get ready as well. Even though these are moving north and east, guys, the individual cells, the general trend is for this to sag to the south a little bit as well. So, southern Brevard County will get in the act with at least some marginally strong storms. Satellite Beach, Palm Bay, O'Galley, Grant Valcaria areas here. Melbourne, Indian Harbor Beach, Sun Tree, Vieira North, places like that, June Park, all will get in on the act eventually. I don't think it's going to be as strong as what we had come through Merritt Island and Sharps and Cocoa and Port St. John, but still relatively rowdy. Lighter, moderate rain, breezy winds for Orlando, Oviedo. Again, the Scottish Highland Games continue right now in Winter Springs. I hope they're doing okay. Is it going to be a complete washout the remainder of the afternoon? No, but as I mentioned in Friday's show, there's some wet kilts right now for the Scottish Highland Games, but hopefully the lightning goes away and they cooperate. If I zoom back into that area, you can see that there's no lightning right now in the Winter Springs area. That's good news. And I really hope, if I just kind of cut this off here, if I just kind of zoom into like this area, yeah, I'm not getting any lightning right now. That's what we want to see. Rain won't come to an end anytime soon, but let's get some of those thunderstorms out of the area. And again, in coastal Volusia County, we've got some winds of around 25. So special weather statements continue here. Again, the biggest threat is going to be winds of up to 50 miles an hour. Quick look at the temperatures here, by the way, again, just to give you an indication of what's going to be happening. So 80s out ahead of where the storms are right now. Most areas are overcast and rain cooled in the 60s to the lower 70s. And you get into our northwest areas and temperatures really are beginning to fall. Leesburg down to 64, Crystal River, Inverness 63, Ocala in at 64 degrees. And then if you're really tracking that colder air, you get back up here and you start to see those temperatures 59 in Tallahassee, but getting into the 40s when you get up towards Crestview, Mariana areas, coming in at 52 right now. So that is what I expect to move into our area overnight to kick off MLK Junior Day in the 40s. And guess what? It's not going to get much warmer than that for the majority of tomorrow and into Tuesday. Get ready for wet, get ready for very cold weather. Friends, with the most active weather being offshore and just left with a couple of severe weather statements, we're going to wrap up the live coverage here on CFLW for the present time. Look, I came on earlier during the mid-morning hours and said, look, if there's anything I need to come back on for and cover it, I will. And that's exactly while I'm on right now. But it does look like, for the most part, even though I would still expect there to be some heavy rain and storms in southern Brevard, and you can see a new special weather statement that just got issued for relatively rural areas of Osceola County. 91 on the map is the turnpike. So the turnpike drive through Osceola County back down towards Yeehaw Junction is not going to be really fun. But hopefully staying below severe criteria. But you get the idea. As I mentioned, this is coming south and east. So southern Brevard County, get ready for more impactful weather here in the mid-afternoon hours. If this were some reason to ramp back up to produce severe thunderstorm warnings, I'll jump back on as we get into the afternoon. A couple of things. First of all, thank you for watching. Don't go anywhere as of yet. Do me a big favor and please like this live stream. Please subscribe to Central Florida Weather Live if you hasn't as of yet. If you don't know, I'm now doing more regular coverage. Everything is still live on the channel. I'm always going to be live, no tape videos. But now I'm doing CFLW, the show, every Monday and Friday at 1 p.m. It just provides you more regular content. That's what you guys asked for last year. Happy to oblige with that. The Monday show will cover the forecast across our area through the week, the work week, and then the Friday show covers Friday and the weekend weather as well. We'll talk a lot about what's happening with current conditions, and we'll get into some forecasts city by city as well, show you all the model data. Tomorrow's show is going to be important. Why? Well, when I see you tomorrow at 1 o'clock, it's going to be outrageously chilly, overcast, rainy, temperatures in the 40s and 50s with some winter weather moving into our panhandle. So please tune in for that. Even if you can't watch the live version, the taped version, or the recorded version, if you will, can always be found under the live tab here of the CFLW YouTube channel, just where you would find these live streams. All you gotta do is look for the thumbnail and the date. And again, because we're talking about forecasts several days out, if you watch it later that afternoon or that evening at your own convenience, or even the next day, there's still a lot of new information, and you can scrub through that video to get any particular information that you want. Even if you're watching the recorded version, you can ask a question. I go back through. Some of you have asked those questions while watching the recorded version. I'm happy to answer that as well. Just love the interaction. So again, a lot of different ways that you can now consume the available streams that we do here on CFLW. Once again, I do want to thank the Lean Law Firm for being a sponsor and the exclusive sponsor here of the CFLW YouTube channel. They are your hometown homeowners insurance attorneys, covering the entire state, homeowners, condo owners, and associations. Anything that could impact you personally, like a car accident or your property, hail, hurricanes, burst pipes, they've got you covered. They're going to walk you through every step of the insurance claim process. They do offer free consultation and policy reviews. Go to leanonmelaw.com for all the information there. And again, we appreciate them being the exclusive sponsor here of CFLW. Blue Goose says the cold Monday show will be there. I appreciate that, and I appreciate you guys as well. Friends, again, if I need to, I'll be back on, but hopefully we're just left over with some rain and some cooler weather coming in on this Sunday. So hopefully you guys have a great rest of your Sunday. I'll see you tomorrow at 1 p.m. for CFLW Live, the show. Until then, you all take care. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you then. Bye.